All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle one of the biggest questions in business right now. What does it really take to lead in the age of AI? And to help us out, we're going to use a kind of map, a guide created by the experts, the Google Cloud Generative AI Leader Certification, to help us navigate this whole new world.
So let's just jump right in. What does it actually take? I mean, it's the question every single leader is asking themselves. And here's a spoiler. The answer isn't about you suddenly needing to become a coder or a data scientist. No, it's about developing a completely new kind of strategic vision.
So let's define the hero of our story here, the generative AI leader. And look, this is not your typical tech guru locked in a server room. Think of this person more like a translator and a visionary. They're someone who sees the massive business potential in the tech and can bridge that huge gap between the engineers and the boardroom to actually make things happen.
So, here's our roadmap for this journey. First, we're going to define this new leader. Then, we'll get you speaking the language of AI. After that, we'll peek inside the toolbox, then figure out how to get way better results, and finally, wrap it all up into a winning strategy.
All right, first stop on our journey, the call to adventure. Every single company out there is staring down this new world of AI-driven opportunities and, let's be honest, challenges. And that's exactly why this new kind of leader isn't just nice to have. It's absolutely essential. Okay, so if you're going to lead this expedition, you've got to speak the language, right? Our next stage is all about that, learning the language. We're talking about the fundamental concepts that form the bedrock of any smart conversation about AI. You know, the easiest way to think about these core concepts is like a set of nesting dolls. The biggest doll, the outside one, is artificial intelligence. This whole huge idea of smart machines. You open it up, and inside you find machine learning, where machines learn directly from data. Open that one, and you get to generative AI, which is all about creating brand new things. And the engine driving all of this? Those are the foundation models, especially the large language models, or LLMs, that are so good at understanding and talking just like us.
Now, every single AI model out there runs on data. But here's the thing, not all data is created equal. You've got your structured data. That's the neat, tidy stuff in spreadsheets and databases. And then you've got unstructured data. That's all the messy but incredibly valuable stuff, like text docs, images, even audio files. And for a leader, this is absolutely critical. Understanding this difference is the first step in your strategy, because it tells you where your company can get the quickest wins with AI.
So you've got all this data. How does it actually turn into a useful AI tool? Well, it follows this fundamental four-step life cycle. It all starts with getting and cleaning up the data. Then, you use that data to actually train the model. After that, you deploy it so people can start using it. But it doesn't stop there. The final step is managing it over time to keep it effective. Every single successful AI project follows this path.
All right, we're speaking the language. Now it's time to get our hands on the tools. Let's move to the next stage of the journey, acquiring the tools. We're going to look inside Google's AI toolkit to see how all these concepts are actually put into practice. A really helpful way to see this whole AI landscape is to think of it in layers, kind of like building a house. At the very bottom, you have the foundation, the infrastructure. That's all the raw computing power. On top of that, you build with the models, the actual AI brains like Gemini. Then you have platforms, which are like the workshop or tool sets for building things. Agents are like automated workers using those tools, and finally, at the very top, you have the applications that we all actually click on and use.
Okay, let's make this real with a few key tools. You've got Gemini, the AI assistant that's all about boosting your team's productivity. Then there's Vertex AI, this incredibly powerful platform that lets your own teams build and roll out AI solutions. And you have things like Agent Space, which helps you create custom search and chat tools just for your business. What you really need to see here is that there's a specific tool for a specific business problem. And look, for any leader listening, this next point is, well, it's non-negotiable. When you are dealing with your company's data, the platform you use has to be built for the enterprise. And that means things like security, privacy, reliability, and the ability to scale aren't just features. They have to be core principles, built right in from the ground up.
Okay, so at this point on our journey, our leader has the language, they've got the tools, but that's not the whole story, is it?
The next stage of the journey is all about mastering the craft, learning the real techniques to get consistently better results from these amazing models. We have to be honest here. AI models are not magic, they're not perfect, they can hallucinate and make things up, they have knowledge cutoffs, and they can reflect biases. But here's the good news. A smart leader knows the playbook to deal with these things. Techniques like grounding the model in facts, smart prompt engineering, using something called RAG, and always keeping a human in the loop, these are essential for getting high-quality, reliable results.
You know, so often, the quality of the answer you get from an AI comes right down to the quality of the question you ask. So take two basic techniques here. Zero-shot prompting is when you just ask for something directly. But with few-shot prompting, you give it a few examples of what you're looking for. I mean, the improvement in the response can be staggering. It's the difference between asking a stranger for directions and just handing them a map.
Okay, let's zoom in on one of those solutions, because this one is a total game changer. RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. The process is so simple, but it's brilliant. First, the model goes out and retrieves information from your own company's documents. Second, it augments your question with that information. And finally, it generates a response that is grounded in your specific, up-to-date data. No more generic answers.
And here we are, the final stage of our journey. Our hero is now equipped with knowledge, tools, and craft. This is where we take all that and we turn it into real wisdom, building a smart, responsible AI strategy for the entire organization.
So before you even think about launching an AI project, a real leader presses pause and asks the tough questions. How many people are going to use this? How customized does it really need to be? Exactly how sensitive is the data we're talking about? And the big one? Do we actually have the right people, the right budget, and the right amount of time? Answering these questions up front is what separates a successful AI strategy from a very expensive, failed experiment.
And that leads us to probably the most critical part of modern leadership, and that's responsibility. The most important thing to get is that responsible AI isn't some optional feature you add at the end. You have to think of it as a core part of your business strategy. It has to be baked in from the very beginning, from data to deployment, making sure things like accountability and transparency are there every single step of the way.
Yeah, this quote right here, it really just says it all, doesn't it? It's not enough to just build an AI that works. A true leader is accountable for the outcomes, and that accountability is now a core part of the job.
And of course, all this great strategy and responsible thinking, it has to be protected. A leader is going to lean on frameworks like Google's Secure AI Framework, or SAFE, and its secure by design infrastructure to manage all the risks and protect these powerful new systems.
So there you have it. We've walked the path together. From learning the language to building a responsible strategy, you have the map now. You've seen what it takes to lead. So the only real question left is the one you see right here. Is your organization ready for its AI leader?